All right. What do the Packers need to do to be the ones who are singing goodbye to 49ers fans or fans of another team next year or at some year after that and getting to the Super Bowl again?
Well, the big thing is, Mike, and this is no surprise, you've been watching football all year. You watched on Sunday. The Packers need to improve their interior defensive line. That is like where it starts to me. It really is. You know, they were so compromised in certain games because they had to protect their interior defensive line that it makes them play some defensive fronts that weren't necessarily comfortable to them. And that's what happened in this game, Mike. They were protecting the interior defensive line, playing a lot of bear front, trying to squash people into the middle of the line of scrimmage versus the San Francisco 49ers. Well, Kyle Shanahan said, fine, smash yourselves in there. I'm going to block down. We're going to toss it outside, and we're going to just seal everybody off and run all these outside runs. So that's where it has to start. And then after that, they need another weapon on offense. That would be the two things I look at more than anything. More depth and size on the D-line, and another explosive weapon to make people fearful on that offensive side of the ball. And I think they're right back in the mix of things again next year.
Yeah, and I agree with you completely. The question is, do they target the draft? Do they look to free agency? Who's available? Who may be cut? If they trade for somebody. The fact that they have a general manager in Brian Gutekunst who is willing to do something more than draft and develop, opens the universe of possibilities. And one of the things Aaron Rodgers did after the game on Sunday, rattled off the names of the guys that Gutekunst has brought in who have become leaders. So there's going to be guys that Rodgers very much likes to keep around, but there are going to be some new guys that they'll bring in. The team will look very different. And, you know, at a certain point, yes, you have to worry about competing with the teams in your division because you play them twice per year. But the 49ers are going to be that gold standard in the NFC, I think, for years to come. That's the team that you're trying to get past.
Right.
It was 49ers Cowboys for 4 or 5 years in the 90s. It's going to be somebody 49ers, and maybe it'll be a different team every year, but I feel like the 49ers are going to be in that mix every year. If you want to get to the Super Bowl at some point, you're going to have to get past them.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it looks that way. Certainly, they're set up for it. And then that goes back right to what we just talked about. I mean, the 49ers, we've been talking about the whole show. Jimmy Garoppolo, we don't have to depend on him to win the game. What do you got to do when you play the 49ers? The first thing you got to do is win the battle up front. Their defensive line overwhelms people like they did at the Packers O-line during the game the other day. And their offensive line, along with the Shanahan run scheme, overwhelms people too. So that's the first battle you got to try to win. And that's where Green Bay's got to get better. They really got to get some difference makers on the interior part. You got the Smith guys on the outside. They're awesome. Need more depth, more bodies. Mike, they don't even have enough depth to where there was moments in that game where they were playing nickel and dime defense because they didn't have enough backup D linemen to come in. So they had to go smaller, even though the team was running on them, but they had no other way to rest some of these guys. And that was a big issue for them in general. But I look at that, we'll see what they do with Brian Bulaga at right tackle. That'll be another interesting one as well.
This is an offshoot of something, Chris, you and I were texting about last night as it relates to the construction of the 49ers roster.
Yeah.
I think there will be a premium in this free agency period and draft for other NFC teams to find roughneck, badass defensive players who don't need to practice tackling to the ground, who don't need to have the kind of padded practices that the NFL used to have. You want guys who will go out there week one with limited preparation because the current rules make it harder to get guys physically ready. You want guys who were born ready to go out there and make that tackle, throw themselves in the path of the blocker, of the ball carrier, and do the dirty work.
Right.
You find those guys, that's how you slow down the 49ers running game, because I don't think there's enough of those guys to go around right now.
You're right. They got no hesitation, guys that'll just run through the wall. Coach said do it, we'll do it.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.